everybody, I'm Melinda Gallant, and I want to welcome you to another Cape Conversations. Oh my gosh, we've got a great guest today. I mean, all my guests are great, but this one is very special. So come along, let's have another Cape Conversation. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here today with Marie Oliva from the Canal Regional Chamber of Commerce to talk about all things Chamber of Commerce and the Canal.
Yes,
Marie,
hi. Welcome to you. It's good, always good to see you. And I love Sandwich Community TV. They do a great job. Great studio. It's nice in here.
It is. It's very nice and very comfortable.
Yes.
I wanted them to let me live here, but they wouldn't.
No.
Anyway, what's going on?
All right. So, Cape Cod Canal Region Chamber. For those people who might not be familiar with us, we're located in the historic railroad station building on Main Street in Buzzards Bay. Mm-hmm. And we're a nonprofit chamber of commerce, and we cover the communities of Bourne, Sandwich, and Wareham. And we reach out to customers and businesses all over the region. We operate 2 visitor centers, one at the base of the Sagamore Bridge in Sagamore, mm-hmm. and then a visitor center at 70 Main Street, Buzzards Bay, where our office is. So we have a visitor center there.
Oh, wow.
So we have a lot of members down Cape because people stop at the visitor centers and we refer back to the attractions that they have.
Sure.
So we're there to help the business community, and we do a lot of community events, free concerts and festivals for the area. So we do both because we're all about looking at what's best for the whole area and what we can do to help out and help people.
Well, I know you work in cooperation with the Sandwich Chamber of Commerce.
We do. We're doing a lot of events together.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's terrific. You know,
do you want me to mention some of them right now? Or?
Sure, you may if you'd like.
Okay, well, actually, I just happen to have this here. But we're having a business after hours at the Canal Side Pavilion at the Sagamore Inn.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to be doing that with our chamber, the Sandwich Chamber, and Cape Cod Young Professionals.
Fabulous.
So the 3 organizations are going to get together, and it's on Thursday, May 16th at 5 to 7 p.m. This is on the Sandwich Chamber website and also on our website.
Nice.
And then we this is an opportunity for businesses to collaborate with each other and find out about each other's organization. And we work together, and hopefully we can have good attendance for people to network and do some business together. That's the whole idea, is to meet people that you do not know.
And isn't that wonderful? I mean,
Yes.
that's what this is all about, right? Is cooperation
Yeah.
and community, basically.
Exactly. And then we have...
Oh my God, you've got more coming?
I know. We got an
Yikes.
Upper Cape Legislative Community Forum with our State Senator Susan Moran, State Representative David Vieira, State Representative Dylan Fernandez, and our wonderful Steve Exaros from the Sandwich area, state representative. And so we're going to have that on May 10th, that's next Friday at 8 a.m. at the Upper Cape Technical School. And we're doing this in conjunction with the Mashpee Chamber, the Falmouth Chamber, and the Sandwich Chamber. So
it's an Upper Cape event.
It's an Upper Cape event, yeah, and we get all the chambers involved, and we want people to come and talk about different issues affecting the state budget, different wastewater issues, the bridges, a lot of different information that will be brought up.
And Sandwich is late to the game on wastewater, so they've been a little bit slow on the uptake. I think they thought, well, it flows downhill, they didn't have to worry about it, but my understanding is now they do.
Right.
Which a long time ago, a few years ago, when I was on the Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce board, you could see it coming. It was coming because we should be sewered.
We should be sewered. It's just such a hard thing to sewer the whole Cape, so-called. Like, we have sewage on Main Street in Buzzards Bay, but a lot of people, want more sewage because it's so difficult. If you have a Title V, they have different regulations coming out.
Everything.
Saying that you have to, replace those with state-of-the-art systems that don't create pollution, drainage.
Well, the other problem is, though, we have to protect our water. I mean, we're a sole source aquifer here.
Yes, we are.
And when you live on, I understand the Canal Chamber kind of straddles both sides of the canal,
Yes, it
which is
does.
wonderful for
Yeah.
you guys as far as visitors and all of that. However, for us folk who live on this side of the bridge,
Right.
we worry about our water and consumption and, all of
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
So,
And development comes into that in housing.
yeah.
See,
yeah.
it's an economy in a way because we need more housing for people to be able to live and work here. That's
Yeah.
a real serious issue, and a lot of businesses do not have trouble finding labor because they can't afford to live here.
Right.
But then the housing causes more density and more
Right.
issues for the community. So, it's one of those things you have to kind of work it all together and see how
Right,
it works.
right. Well, we moved here 40-some years ago.
Yeah.
And, it was a different Cape.
Right.
But they were, even back then, they were having problems with employees, getting
Yes.
employees and what have
Yes.
you. So, anyway, hopefully
Yeah.
that'll start
Yeah,
sorting
hopefully.
itself out
Yeah.
somewhat. But now tell me about Buzzards Bay. Because I've always thought Buzzards Bay could be something. It was something in its
Right.
heyday.
It was.
And then it went downhill,
It did.
which a lot of main streets did. We know that Hyannis at one point went downhill, and because of shopping centers.
Yeah,
And now
shopping
shopping centers are going downhill, and
They
main
are.
streets
They're
are coming
becoming white
back.
elephants, aren't they? People like to shop like in an open air type.
Yeah, that
mall,
and
like-
people. Let's face it, online has done a lot
Definitely. Oh,
to
of course.
to influence retailing.
Retailing, and I know retailing is so difficult. Main Street is 1 mile long. It runs parallel to the canal. So you've got this unbelievable feature and attraction, Cape Cod Canal, that attracts about 2 or 3 million people. And you go, how
know.
could you get, and that's from the Corps of Engineers. That's
Right,
the statistics are from them.
And we know that the government may be a little loosey-goosey about those numbers.
Maybe it's more.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
But so we have the amenities there with, you get the Mass Maritime School, you got the
Sure.
old railroad station
Sure.
building that we're housed in, which is
Yeah.
a beautiful renovated
And that beautiful
building.
park.
Beautiful park. So there isn't a lot of stores. We have some newer restaurants, pizza place, Thai, and smaller restaurants, the Rod and Rail, and Mahoney's, and the Mezzaluna, and Stomping Grounds. So there is a few places to eat and restaurants on Main Street, but it really needs more type shopping. There is a country
Right.
store there across from the church. So,
I didn't know.
it's
I
called
didn't
the
even
Country
realize.
Store. Yeah.
How long has
And,
it been there? A long time,
I
or
think
short?
about a year, maybe,
Oh, all
or
right,
so. It's
great.
relatively new, maybe a year and a half or so.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we're always trying to work to bring people on Main Street.
Sure.
It's such a challenge, really, to revitalize main streets.
Right.
Because
Well, first of all, it's
retail-
wide.
It's wide. They're trying to
Narrow it,
narrow
which
it,
slows people down.
which slows exactly.
I worked at Mashpee Commons, and
Yes.
it was all about building town, as they used to call it. So
Yeah.
that's I look at your Main Street and I think, oh gosh, But in the old days, it probably was narrower, and then they thought, well, if we make it wider, cars could
Right.
go faster and whatever. And the
Right.
problem is they don't stop.
Yeah, they had, hardware stores and all
Yeah.
kinds
A
of
movie- I
clothing,
remember going to the movie
movies.
theater there.
Exactly.
Which is crazy. That was
yeah.
when we first moved here.
So it is a challenge. The other issue is that you work with different business owners there.
Yeah.
But a lot of downtown Main Streets are owned by landlords.
Sure.
Who sometimes don't do the best thing to take care of their buildings. So we work
Right.
with the landlords to say, look,
That's
if
great.
there's state grants that can help do the facades and the signs of your building, that can help streetscape projects, which the town has had,
Sure.
to put, nice signage on Main Street and to develop guidelines
Nice.
that, represent the character of the neighborhood. So those all help, those amenities help,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still up to the landlords to get the tenants in there that are gonna stay there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You're right. You're
tenants
absolutely right.
sometimes move in and out, and it's like, you don't want that to happen.
Right.
You want them to maintain there.
Right.
Stay
Right.
there at least 2 or 3 years.
Right. Well, now, I know that on this side of the bridge, they were doing work at the Bourne Rotary.
Yes.
Will
they
you
are.
explain that? I saw the picture in the paper,
Saw
and I'm
the
thinking,
map.
okay, I don't get it, but
I know. Have you driven around
I've
They
driven it.
seem-
Driven around. It's just I haven't driven around. Do they have it? They don't have it marked yet.
They
do
have it marked.
Oh, they
have
have
it striped.
Okay, see, I haven't been there.
Right,
I was
so-
there before it was striped. I was
Right,
like, okay.
right. So this is from MassDOT. It was very confusing to look at the design
Yeah,
plan.
yeah.
But, you know, when you're coming onto the bridge, either from Route 6A or you're going over the bridge to go down MacArthur Boulevard, they want you to be in specific lanes, striping on, similar
Excellent.
to what they did to the Buzzards Bay Rotary, but this is the South Cape Cod Rotary on the south side of the
Right,
bridge.
right.
And so when you're coming off the bridge, they want you to go into lanes going down to MacArthur Boulevard.
Right.
If you're coming over the bridge and you want to go to Sandwich Route 6, then you should be in the passing lane, right? In order to get into that lane. So, I mean, here's another issue. I never drive in the passing lane on the bridge. I just don't. So you'd have
I don't
to,
either.
No, but you should be in that passing lane in order to go around to get into the right lane. So
I
that can
see.
be a little bit difficult.
Yeah,
And I think it's
yeah.
going to take time for people to get used to.
Yeah.
But they have the same amount of lanes that they generally have for other rotaries throughout the state of Massachusetts.
I see.
They're striping, paving, and they do the work all at night.
No, I know that,
So at least
which is
it's-
great.
Right, and then they still have to finish it in the fall for
Wow.
drainage and finishing drainage work after that.
Well, there's
so.
always a line of traffic on MacArthur Boulevard going towards the
Oh my
Bourne Bridge.
God, yeah.
Maybe this will alleviate some of that.
Right, you know, I think the jury's gonna be out on that because we'll see how the traffic's gonna be, you know, it starts in
Right.
May, June, July,
Right.
you know. And even during off-season months, MacArthur Boulevard
It's
is
always
always
backed
backed
up.
up.
It's always
But
backed
this is
up.
MassDOT who engineered the whole thing.
Right.
And they had plenty of public hearings and things
Right.
like that.
Oh, no,
but-
I know they did, yeah.
Yeah, but Senator Moran, she's wonderful because she chairs meetings every 2 weeks with all the players that are involved, MassDOT, Corps of Engineers, police, chamber, town. Everybody gets together from Congressman Keating's office down and to talk about the plan, is it working? Are the lanes working? So we're gonna have the meeting after they just striped it. Twice a month we have that meeting.
Wow.
So we try to work together with all the other people involved that have a stake in it to make sure. But now it's done. So the question is it
gonna work?
Yeah, yeah. MassDOT thinks it's gonna work. So.
Okay, well, we'll keep our fingers crossed. And I'll shut my eyes when I drive around. No. So, speaking of Corps of Engineers, there's big talk about the bridges.
Right, okay.
And I guess they are going to happen. Of course, people say, no, they're not, but yes, they are.
I believe they are.
I mean, I don't know what we do if they don't.
Right. Well, we're stuck with them maintaining the bridges.
Right.
And rehabilitating the bridges almost every year. Either
Yeah.
one bridge is being worked
Right,
on.
right.
So it creates 2 and 3 hour traffic backups.
Well,
but-
sandwiches goes
you know,
down
it's
to
so tough.
Well, it's total chaos, and
It
then
is.
you're trapped if you live on 6A or Main Street, and then of course with Ways, if you live in
Yeah.
any of the neighborhoods, they have traffic going through the neighborhoods, so it's
And
crazy.
It's awful. It's awful. The bridge is a pretty challenging project. They chose the Sagamore Bridge first before the Bourne Bridge.
Yeah.
Because it costs about $2 billion for each bridge.
Right.
So MassDOT thought it would be more prudent to apply for a grant. You've got to apply for a grant at the federal government through the United States Infrastructure Act.
Right.
And so that has not been approved yet. In other words, certain portions have been invested by the state to do some of the design work now that we're talking about.
Right.
But we won't know until maybe late spring or sometime in June whether or not that grant's going to be approved. So it's very competitive throughout the country. There
I
are
would
plenty of other
imagine.
bridges that people want. So I always say, until that money gets approved,
We don't
$2
have
billion, I don't want to say it's definitely going to happen, but there's so much money, millions invested already, that I can't imagine it not being approved.
Right.
And then when it is approved, then they have to come out with a location, they have to do an environmental impact statement,
Right.
which can take 2 or 3 years. So one of the dates that they're looking at for completion is 2034 for
I'll
the
be
Sagamore
dead.
Bridge. No, you won't. You're a beautiful young woman. No, you won't.
Well, and here's the thing, maybe we need to get Pete Buttigieg down here.
I know. Well, you pronounce his name right.
Well, of course, I think I did.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, well, I'm from
Secretary-
Ohio. He's from
the
Indiana.
Secretary of Transportation at
That's
the federal
right.
level, in case anybody doesn't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
who he
yeah.
is, so.
And he should
Yes.
come down and try to get across that bridge in June or May
Right.
or in July, especially in
Right.
July. July 4th
Exactly.
weekend would be the perfect
Exactly.
one.
And they're functionally obsolete. The whole idea is public safety.
Yeah.
I mean, it's to facilitate traffic as well. But, the new bridges are going to be wider with
Right.
acceleration lanes and de-acceleration lanes and bicycle lanes. And
Right.
so it's going to be,
I always laugh when
state-of-the-art.
somebody says, well, I'm going to walk across the bridge. Have you lost your mind?
I know. Who'd want to do that?
Who'd want to ever do that? I don't know.
But it's something-
beautiful.
Yeah.
And it is so beautiful. I mean, driving over those bridges is beautiful. So
It is.
I hope the bridge design, which I've seen a few in the newspapers and what
Right.
have you, I
Right.
hope it's as pretty as, is in keeping with the beautiful bridges they build today.
Absolutely.
I hope so.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
then they'll go to the Bourne Bridge, correct?
Yes, they actually are going to apply for another grant for the Bourne Bridge now.
I see.
Because that could take a lot longer, and maybe when the Sagamore Bridge is open, then they can,
I
or
see.
maybe before the Sagamore Bridge is open, they can start working
I
on the
see.
Bourne Bridge.
Yeah.
But, it's really going to affect the economy of the Cape, and particularly in Bourne, of course, where the bridges are, when they're building this. This is going to be a
Yes.
tough thing for people to go through for businesses and community.
And I've
Really
always
is.
wondered why. There are two things I've always wondered. Why we don't have rail to Bourne.
Mhm. Well, there you go.
Why we
We've been
don't.
talking about that
Forever.
forever, and the thing is that the MBTA is broke. They
Yeah.
don't want to bring any additional services on the rail because then they have to, pay
Yeah,
for it.
right.
But the whole idea is to say, well, the commuters pay a certain amount of money
Right.
to go on the train, but it's never enough, so the MBTA has to subsidize
Right.
that. They have an advisory committee that advised against doing rail. This goes back, I swear, like 8-9 years ago.
Isn't that amazing?
So the question is, our legislators are working on that, and our senators are trying to work on that, but it just never seems to
Go anywhere.
come to fruition.
Right.
So.
And the other is, why isn't there a ferry from Sandwich to?
Well, you have to have a private business.
I understand that.
Right.
But you would think there would be money to be made there. I've heard
know.
too that the Corps of Engineers is a little bit fussy about all
Oh, my
that
goodness,
stuff.
yeah. So, we love the Corps of Engineers.
Yes, we all love the Corps of Engineers. They're our favorite people because they do maintain the canal and
Yes.
all that good stuff.
Yes.
That said, they're very fussy about the bulkhead in Sandwich, I know. They wouldn't even during our 350th, they had a hard time letting a boat pull up to take people on a boat cruise,
I know.
which is kind of funny to me,
Yeah.
but I don't know what they're keeping it pristine for. I don't, unless we're going to be invaded by somebody. I don't know.
I also wanted to mention that about Main Street.
Yeah.
Is that we have concerts by the Canal every Thursday in July and
Oh,
August.
nice.
So what happens? We get about 300 or 400 people that come to the
Wow.
park.
Yeah.
And now all those people frequent the businesses along Main Street
Oh,
during
sure.
that thing. So
Sure.
there's plenty of food available. There's pizza at Buzz's Bay House of Pizza, and then there's Crew of
There's-
Thai. There's a Thai place right across the park.
There's across the street. There was a new restaurant that looked very fun, kind of industrial inside.
Mahoney's.
Yeah, was
That's
that?
Mahoney's is also there.
Yeah.
So people frequent the park, and
Yeah.
then we get volunteers who run it. And then we've got our Cape Cod Canal Day Festival on September 21st.
Wow.
So we do that every year.
Just in time for my
Just
birthday.
in oh my God, is that your birthday?
Well, not on the 21st, but
Oh.
a few days later,
days
so
later,
I could come
okay.
there and celebrate.
So that's food trucks and
Nice.
100 vendors and a beer and wine,
And
craft
that
beer
took
and
the
wine.
place of the
Scholar
Skull
Fest.
Fest, right?
Yeah, it was a one-day event. And last year we had Hurricane Lee, and unfortunately we had to cancel it. So it was very disappointing, to say the
Yeah,
least. But
yeah.
we do the best we can. It is a fundraiser for the chamber,
Nice.
and we have to raise funds in order to stay in business for our members, in order to help them with grants and funding and going through all these different organizations
Mm-hmm.
that maybe they're not familiar with as a small business.
Sure.
There's SCORE that helps small businesses
Sure.
come up with marketing plans, things like that.
Right,
So,
right. Well,
yeah,
that's
it's all
great.
good. It's all
How
good.
many members do you have?
So we have about 400 members.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's from the 3 towns,
Yeah.
and we're a regional chamber, and we love working with the Sandwich Chamber, Chrissy over there, Chrissy Ross. We do so many events together now with them, and it just shows collaboration that we're working together. We're not competing with each other. In fact, there's 15 chambers on the Cape, so it's very confusing to visitors coming down here.
Sure.
And what we do is that we tell them, this is where you can go. These are the visitor centers that you can go to all along the Cape, in which we have as well, which can take care of the traveling public,
Yeah.
that come down. But we work together. All the chambers meet twice a month by
Nice.
Zoom and sometimes in person to work out and to share everything that we can. So it's
And
a
you
good
you meet also
collaboration.
with the Cape Cod Chamber, I believe.
Oh, yeah, the Cape Cod Chamber, we meet with
Yeah.
them as well. The Cape Cod Chamber is the larger chamber that
Right.
includes the entire Cape. So you get
Right.
the 15 smaller chambers or
Right.
regional chambers, and then you've got the Tourist Information Council that where MOT, Mass Office of Travel and Tourism, helps fund the Cape Cod Chamber.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
there you
right.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, it's wonderful. Again, you all work together for, really the same goal. And that
Yes.
is to put heads in beds and
Yes.
butts in seats of
Right.
restaurants and different kinds of venues, entertainment venues
Right,
and et cetera.
right. We try to do that year round.
Oh,
I mean, the
yeah.
off season.
Sure.
There is a proposal for a tourism destination marketing district by the legislature, and the Cape Cod Chamber is actually handling that.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means is that they're going to try to market the area off season. So therefore, it'll be more opportunity for
The
hotels
shoulder
and motels.
seasons.
Shoulder season, should say, yes.
Yeah.
It's a better explanation. And so that district will allow hotels to have a percentage of their lodging go up, so it's
Yeah.
another tax. However, that money goes to promote the area.
Sure.
And the hotels have an opportunity to buy into it, so most of them, in most of the towns on the Cape, do want that.
Oh, sure.
They don't mind paying that extra, and they'll just pass that along to the consumer, of course.
Right.
But hopefully that district will help market the area, shoulder season.
Well, if you go anywhere in the United States that is a
Yes.
place to visit,
Yes.
they have those taxes. It's part of your room tax, whatever it is.
Yeah.
There are hidden fees that are in there. And they
Yes.
always are. I mean, they always put it on your
know,
bill, but
I know.
they're always there. So I don't think anybody would be surprised by that
Right.
or taken
Right.
back by it.
Right.
We have, I think on Cape Cod, we tend to kind of be very conservative. We always go, oh, well, people don't have any money, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they do.
There's plenty to go around.
There's plenty to go around. Well, let's look at the real estate market. You're
Oh,
head
my
of the
goodness.
Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You deal with realtors. The real estate market here is
It's
crazy.
It's still going
Crazy.
like crazy, even though the interest rates are up 6% or
right.
so. And
But that's better than in the 80s when it was at
Oh, my
13,
goodness.
17%.
Yes. Can you remember those days?
I do remember those
yeah.
days. We thought it was great to get a 6%
I know. Wow.
interest rate.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah.
And so we kind of laugh when people go, oh, well, you're buying $1 million house. Hello.
I know. Why don't you say what you really think?
Yeah, well, I understand why during COVID, so many people came out of the cities and bought on the Cape.
Yeah.
I do, I
Oh,
understand
my
that.
goodness.
Yeah.
Wasn't that something, huh?
Yeah,
Wow.
I do get it. And we are a beautiful area and a
Mm-hmm.
great place to be. What kind of bothers me now, and you as a chamber director may understand this, is those people have turned those houses, because they don't want to be here now, into Airbnbs.
Right, there you go.
And so
Right.
on my street currently, we have, and I live in Town Neck, most people know that, we have 3 on my street.
Mm-hmm.
And the house just sold across the street, the people live elsewhere, they're fixing it up, and they're not gonna be out here all the time. What are they gonna do with that house? They're not gonna let it sit empty.
Right.
Now, I don't
Right.
care that it's an Airbnb,
Yeah.
but what is that doing for our economy?
Community.
Yeah,
the
and our
economy.
community.
Right. We
Where
want-
is that sense of community?
Exactly true. Exactly true. I
Yeah.
mean, the Airbnb is just a different animal.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's like having a
So-
motel across the street, but
Yeah.
it's not, but
Yeah,
it
it's
is.
a house. Yeah.
You know, because and it's very transient.
Yeah. Right.
And
there you
there's
go.
been no
Yeah.
problems, certainly, with the Airbnbs that are there. Everybody,
Yeah.
you know, you see people.
Right.
But it's a little disconcerting to me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I always love our kids say, your house is worth so much money now. Why don't you and Dad sell? And I
But
go,
then
where are
you
we
gonna
gonna
go?
move?
And where are you going to move to? People from like Quincy and Boston, everybody, they come down here
Right.
because it's much less expensive. And people
Right.
go, are you kidding me? It's so expensive on the Cape compared to other areas. Go down.
Boston's $1 million, everything.
It's really expensive. So people find that they can come down here and pay a reasonable
Right.
tax, and you got services from the
Right.
community.
Right.
And it's beautiful down here. It's like paradise. I love it. I've lived here my whole life, and I wouldn't move because I just think it's a great.
Oh, I
place
agree
to
with
stay.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you live in Bourne? Or?
I live in Bourne. Live
Oh,
in
nice.
Sagamore Beach.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Bourne has 7 villages.
Yeah.
And Sandwich has what, 4 or 5 villages?
Yeah. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think.
I hope we get that right.
I'd have to count them up.
You got Forestdale,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, Canada, well, yeah, Forestdale, South Sandwich, East
East
Sandwich,
Sandwich.
the Village.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there's another one out there somewhere. Well, listen, it has been wonderful
That went by
talking to you.
quick, huh?
I know it did.
Yeah.
Is there one last thing you want to tell us about?
Just we've got a June cruise at Highline on Thursday, June 27th. With the Cranberry Country Chamber, which is in Middleborough. See, so we work.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So that's the cruise out of
the cruise out of Onset, and it's going to be
Oh my God, I haven't done
the
that
new
in
boat
20
that
years.
they have, Monhegan.
Nice.
So again, cruise, business after hours, business before hours for networking.
Yeah, yeah.
We have all those things, and we work together and collaborate with all the chambers. So it's all
Fabulous,
good. It's all good.
fabulous. Oh my God, Marie, thank you so
Thank you.
much.
I appreciate it.
For keeping us informed.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And I'll see you another time soon, I
Okay,
hope.
great,
All right.
great,
Okay,
thank
you. Wow, Marie Oliva. She is so terrific, and she's the executive director of the Canal Regional Chamber of Commerce, which includes a lot of towns around the canal. And she works in cooperation with the Sandwich Chamber and other chambers in the area. How wonderful is that? Community, that's what it's all about. She gave us a list of all the things coming up in her Chamber of Commerce booklet, and we're excited about it. So I want to thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you next time on another Cape Conversations.